Hello, world. It's John Pinto, your roving realtor, bon vivant, video blogger, podcaster. And today I am not your disembodied voice. I'm actually before the camera. Now, you may be saying, who is this good looking guy sitting next to John in the sunglasses? You're obviously clandestine and under the radar today, right, Marc Mergen?
I try to.
That's right. This is Marc Mergen, the Chief Executive Officer and Jamologist. Is that a word, Jamologist?
Jamologist or Chief Jam Maker.
Chief Jam Maker at Jamalula.
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 Yeah. It's
Thank
like
you.
jam, but it's Jamalula.
Jamalula. And Mark and I are friends from the Napa Farmers Market. Thank God for Karen May and Mimi for running that operation through COVID-19 and doing a great job. In the back, I hear the Napa Wine Train. I'm glad to hear that that's still in business. But let's get right to the task at hand and talk about Jamalula, of which I just finished the raspberry. I am having the strawberry. It's very impressive, and I will kind of throw a softball out there. I shop at the farmers market because I trust all the vendors. I won't buy anything corporate. So that said, let's talk about comparing Jamalula jam to corporate jam, and what might the difference in ingredients be?
Well, it starts out with that the FDA in the United States allows a jam maker to put 66% of sugar into a glass. So if you're thinking about that, and you don't need to be a mathematician, but that means 2 pounds of sugar for 1 pound of fruit. What kind of fruit are they using?
It's probably substandard fruit, I'm going to think.
Because here's my thing. Fruit already has a tremendous amount of sugar, especially if it grows where we're living. I mean, California has the best fruit, bar none. It's the fruit basket for the rest of the world. And so what I'm trying to do is find organic growers who grow fruit, and I will buy it when it's ripe. I will buy it off the farmer's market when it's ripe, and then you don't need that much sugar. To give you an idea, our raspberry only has 6 grams of added sugar, which is kind of interesting when I see customers come to the stand and look at the label and say, this does not start with sugar, it starts with fruit.
So help us out here for all those diabetics out there. How many grams of carbohydrates and sugar would a commercial serving have versus a Jamalula serving?
18 and 30.
18 and 30?
Yeah.
So you could be up to your maximum with one serving, and how much would Jamalula have?
Only 6 to 9 grams. I mean, because here's the thing. Look at our mission fig. Fig by itself has a really high sugar content, right? The Brix content on ripe fig is really high. Whereas you look at a raspberry, who is really not that high on the Brix scale because there's a tartness to it.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that you only add as little sugar as you need to.
Okay.
And see, our techniques involve the European way. We macerate our food cold in sugar first, meaning all the sugar and it draws out the juices from the fruit. So you get kind of a mix of the fruit with the juices of the fruit, and what will happen is there's a certain amount of sugar will just sink to the bottom. I don't use that sugar because obviously after sitting for a certain amount of, and that's company private, but it's kind of like the
You heard
Coca-Cola.
it first here. Don't let anybody know that.
It's kind of like the Coca-Cola formula, right? Where even the CEO doesn't have access to it. But the idea is really the following. Once the fruit, there's only, if you leave fruit macerating for 36 hours, it will not take more sugar. It will only take the sugar it needs. So you can say, yes, I throw away a lot of sugar, but I only saturate the fruit with the amount that it truly needs. So, meaning when I cook it, I don't have to cook it for 3 hours. I cook it for a very short time, keeping the flavor, keeping the fruit flavor, and making a jam that when you taste it, we call it summer in a jar.
Summer in a jar.
Yes.
I like that.
Because my idea about, and I don't use habanero or spicy jams, because what we do at Jamalula, we preserve summer in a jar, and our jams are good for a year up in the pantry. Once you open it, 4 to 6 weeks. But they never last that long because they're that good.
I have opened a couple of your jams, and quite frankly, they get consumed within a few days.
Oh yeah, they are. And I mean, I've sat down with a fresh baguette that I get from a good baker, a little bit of salted butter, and I find myself going back and cutting me more and more baguette, and I'm amazed on how much of this I can put away because the taste is just absolutely addicting.
So I think we need to go in the direction of some recipes because you had me at Mission Fig. Do you make a Mission Fig jam?
Yes, I do. And last year I made my first mission fig ever because in Europe, mission fig is not something that grows there. And so I took a leap because I like mission fig. And I was able to get some really, really good black mission figs, California grown, just totally ripe. And I made jam with it, and quite a lot of my customers were, oh, I love mission fig. I had no idea how many people love mission fig.
Okay, so here goes. Because for me, it's all about the pairings.
Yes.
So what I'm gonna think on that Mission Fig is bruschetta with your Mission Fig with an Italian olive oil packed anchovy on top.
All right. So
What are you thinking?
not bad. I will give you one of my favorites on mission fig. Would be baguette with a brush of olive oil, virgin if possible, and just a thin slice of brie on it, topped with the mission fig jam in the oven for 3 minutes.
Oh, really? At what temperature in the oven?
350 will be enough.
Convection or no?
If you want to do convection, probably about 4 minutes. What you really want to do is you want to get the brie melting a little bit.
Okay.
And while the brie is melting, it's starting already to extract the sweetness of the mission, of the fig.
And what kind of bread do you think we should be
You
using?
take any baguette. I mean, I understand today that some people have are gluten intolerant. We know that today. So if you can get gluten-free bread, some people do that. But any bread really, because here's the thing: jam brings out the best in bread, because jam has always been the best partner to marry with bread.
Good. And before we go any further, Mark and I are drinking 2018
No,
Rubicay.
2010.
2010? Is this
This is
2010?
2010 Rubicon.
Oh, I didn't see the bottle. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I'm sorry. After you 2013,
Yes.
I went to him and I said, is there anything that we can follow up after this?
Him would be David Gates,
I'm sorry.
The maestro
David, yes.
at the bistro at Inglenook.
Yes.
And what did you say to him?
I said, look, what do you have that we can follow up after 2013 who will not be too flat? He said, I have exactly this thing.
He's always got the right answer.
And the worst part about it is I wanted to pay him and he didn't let me.
Uh,
So did you say anything before, like my money is no good here? Or... because here's the thing, right? You invite me to this wonderful place where I haven't been in 30 years, I think. Last time I was here, it hasn't changed. It's beautiful. The wine is absolutely delicious. And I have to say, after a tough morning at the market where you work, coming up here and just having a couple of hours of a beautiful wine, good company, a good cigar, and can't complain about that.
no siree. So let's get back on the recipes here. So let's go with your, what's your best-selling gem?
I would probably say apricot.
And how would you pair the apricot?
Well, the apricot for me is something that goes wonderful on a brie or camembert. And the other thing is that people don't really use yet, should, because we've been using in France for ages, is charcuterie board.
Ah, okay. So what does that charcuterie board look like?
You have some saucissons, some sausages, dry cured. You have, even the uncured ones smoked.
Let me throw in a plug for Contimo in downtown Napa and the fatted calf to help accessorize that board.
They'd probably be perfect for that. And you have that, a couple of cheeses, some bread. For me, the perfect picnic would be one where I would have some charcuterie, maybe some pâté. Next to it, I would like to have some really good butter. And here's the thing, a lot of people put salt into their jam to make it stick out a bit. I like to preserve it when it comes to fruit. And guess what? The salted butter will give you that extra kick that you need without me having to put anything else into my jam because
Okay.
I like my jams to be pure.
So let's send a message to our viewers. I understand you are on the hunt for Blenheim apricots. Is that true?
That's true. See, because the Blenheim apricot was the apricot that was all over California, came in the 1820s, and it's an apricot that ripes from inside out, meaning that it might still be green. And here's the interesting part, and one of these days I will make you a video on that. A green Blenheim is perfect, whereas the green regular apricot really bad. And so what Blenheims have, they bruise easily, so they don't travel well. Meaning that if you grow them in Turlock or in Modesto, by the time they come to market, they'll be bruised. But they make the best jam. And anyone who ever made jam or knows about apricots will tell you the Royal Blenheim is the queen of apricots.
So let's multitask here. If someone has a source for Blenheim apricots and or wants to buy your jam online, where do they go? How do they contact you?
Jamalula.com.
That's JAMALULA.com. Very good.
Yeah, and we ship all over the United States. One of the things when we're talking about recipes, mission fig, there's a whole bunch of things I compare that to. One of the most interesting pairings in my eyes, something I never would have thought of. When I grew up as a child, we used to have blue cheese, Roquefort, or Gorgonzola in Europe.
That's right, the king of cheeses.
Right.
Unless you're talking to somebody from Parma, and then they would say Parmigiano is the king of cheeses.
Yes, but blue cheese really, even the Stilton in England. Right?
Yes, that's the one that they
Right.
usually refer to.
Well, in this country, in France, they would tell you it's.
Roquefort.
But as we all know, all the British kings came from France anyway, and the fight about the claret has been going on for what, over 1,000 years, right?
We're going to get a history lesson. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that just comes with me. But reality is that when you look at really good fruit, you're able to make a really good jam, but it has to be paired with other fruits. My wife's favorite pairing is a Point Reyes blue cheese. You know Point Reyes out there
Yes.
on the coast. They make some great blue cheese.
Yeah, I love Cowgirl Creamery.
Cowgirl makes an excellent one.
We're giving a plug to Cowgirl Creamery.
And my wife's favorite is just a little bit bread, a little salted butter, a little bit blue cheese, and then topped up with a little bit of raspberry. Wow! Because here's the
Your
thing-
raspberry jam.
My raspberry jam, of course, because my raspberry is tart and sweet. Because I don't use that much sugar. And here's the most interesting: it softens the bite of the blue cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Because like a young blue cheese or even an older one can be very pungent and strong.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes that away and brings that fruitness to it.
So let's go in yet again another direction. I am in the middle of one of your strawberry
Right.
jams. Quite impressive. I did have it the simple way that you talked about, salted butter on West One. By the way, West One, Napa baker, who made a spelt, slight amount of honey loaf of bread, and I put some Cloverdale Creamery unsalted butter, added a little kosher salt, and then did your strawberry on it. That was very good. That's a very simple application. I have a question for you. When I do strawberries at home, I like to mix them with aged balsamic vinegar and cracked black pepper.
Right.
Would a bruschetta with your strawberry jam with a little drizzle of balsamic vinegar and cracked black pepper on top be an acceptable combo for you?
That'd be perfect, because here's the thing. All our fruit is macerated, right? And I mean, one of the most known macerations is macerated strawberry, because if you go to any place and ask for strawberries on top of your ice cream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normally there should be strawberries who have been put into sugar, meaning letting there and macerating, and that's why they taste so wonderful. Because here's the thing, every strawberry tastes different, right?
Yes.
And when you taste my strawberry jam, every strawberry tastes the same. Sweet, strawberry.
I love them.
Luscious.
And they're not quote unquote macerated, they're still in a reduced state. You
Yes.
still get a whole strawberry. How does that happen?
I always apologize that there might be chunks of fruit left. But see, the
I
biggest...
love the chunks of fruit.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I want to apologize to most people who know jam because there's no fruit in it. Me, I put real fruit in it, and I mean, I really pride myself on selecting the right vendors and the right suppliers for it. I mean, you know a couple of my suppliers.
Kudos to Rodriguez Strawberries. My
Yeah.
sister-in-law Lynn tells me that there's a stand on Saratoga Avenue for all of my friends in the South Bay. And are you familiar with Rodriguez Strawberries?
Well, that's why I'm getting my strawberries from.
They are beautiful.
Ah,
There's
well, you
never
think
a
you like
bad-
him so bad.
There's never a bad strawberry in the batch.
It started out with the farmer. See, without the local farmers, we wouldn't have all this.
So, if you were going to add anything to my concoction of your Jamalula strawberry jam with a drizzle of aged balsamic and cracked black pepper, is there anything you would add to that?
Yes, I could go all the way out.
Go all the way out. Go crazy.
Fresh smoked salmon.
Oh my God!
Sorry.
Fresh smoked salmon?
Yes, just a little slice, but sliced really thin, like sliced, not a chunk. Sliced thin, just a little sliver, like wasabi sliver. That thinly sliced salmon.
Oh, okay.
Just a little piece on it because here's the thing.
To add that little saltiness
Yes, and
gaminess.
and the oiliness of the salmon will give you. It is an interesting.
How
one.
would we assemble that little bruschetta?
Well, you just put it on top of it.
So
You put
the
the-
salmon goes on top.
Yes.
Okay.
Because-
so the jam, the balsamic, the cracked black pepper, and the little sliver
Well, you could
of
do,
sa-
you could do the
salmon.
black pepper on top of the salmon.
Okay.
Most chefs would tell you that that's
Make a
what we
note.
learned in culinary school.
Make a note. Okay, so we talked a little bit about raspberry. We talked about apricot. We talked about strawberry. Let's continue in the vein
Well-
of your most popular jams.
All right, well, let's go on with peach.
Peach. Now, are those white peaches or otherwise?
Well, I try normally to find yellow peaches, and this year we will probably have a couple of things that I want to add to the repertoire is white nectarines, and white peaches.
And what would you pair those with?
While they are a little bit more subtle in taste, while they have the sweetness, they also have, I think, a little bit. If you have a yellow peach, the yellow peach is peachy. A white peach is a little bit more refined, might be. It has a little less of it, of the peachy taste, but it has that wonderful juiciness.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things is like last year, I diverted a little bit, and I had some really beautiful nectarines that I got actually from Michelle, and for the Barra
Michelle
farm.
where?
Barra,
From
the Barra
Barra?
farm. Yeah.
B-E-R-A?
Yeah, they have a lot of heritage and vintage plums and fruit, peaches and things like that. And one of the things is she's been going against the grain, what most growers do, because most growers grow because they want to satisfy the supermarkets and the Safeways
Yeah.
of this world. But Michelle has gone against the grain and working with varietals or heritage, and excuse me, hard to grow. And she has been in the Napa market for 29 years. Every restaurant in Napa buys from her because she has the best fruit, period.
Oh.
If you stop by Michelle, give you an idea. I learned, we went up there, and the first time I met Michelle, I bought a box of, what they call them, sold outs, right? The ones that she doesn't want to sell to customers.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, Michelle's sold outs are better than any superstore at all from the store, because basically, and Anne also does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had this conversation with Anne this morning where she like, if the pear is blemished, I will not put it down.
So let's go into the Wayback Machine, to the household of Frank and Nancy Pinto back in the 50s and the 60s, where my father would take peaches and soak them in Chianti, and that's what his dessert would be. So if we were going to go in that direction with your peach jam, what might we do?
All right, so here's the thing. Once I cook it, it cannot be, because the Germans have something.
Well,
what
we
they call-
can't do anything in the wine.
Right,
But what
like they call
direction?
room top. But one of the things that Elaine does a lot, we actually like the other white meat pork.
Yeah, right. Let me
And
pull you back over here.
oh, and Elaine often sorry, and Elaine often what we often do for dinner is a
Yeah.
pork loin
Yeah.
because pork tenderloin because it's small
Oh,
and it feeds two people perfectly.
wait a minute. Let me pick myself off the ground. So we're talking about a peach jam with a pork loin.
Yes, and actually glazing it at the last moment on the grill
With the peaches on top.
with the peach jam on top.
Oh my God! Now, do you make an apple jam?
Not yet.
Would work too, right?
Yeah, but see, here's the problem. The way I make them, it would become apple compote.
Oh, compote. Okay, so we're going to forget about the apples. So the peaches with a pork loin.
Yes, absolutely
Now,
delicious.
would
because here
you
have
would you apply the pork loin on a bed of your peach jam, or would you apply the peach
No, no,
jam to
no.
your top?
What we do is like basically, I will go ahead and take a pork tenderloin, small one, right? Two people, you get two of them if you have four people.
We're on a roll here, by the way.
And what you do is with it, you dry rub it, and then put it in your grill, and then when it's starting to be ready, you take it off for a second, put a coat of the peach jam on it, and then put it in. So now the peach,
Ready for pork, 125 degrees internal temperature. Then you apply the peach.
yeah, and just leave it on for another minute or so, and the peach will just give it a real sweet flavor, and bring actually the pork out to where it is absolutely delicious. Like we would say in the South, finger licking good.
Oh my God! So now you're making me go in a different direction as I'm thinking of this application. What jam would you use on a lamb burger?
I would go out on a limb, but I would go ahead and use something like a pluot or a plum. I would use something plum based.
Plum based on a lamb burger.
Yeah, because see, when you look at the lamb burger, I mean, lamb normally, traditionally, has always been served with mint in the British
Right.
palace,
Yes.
right? And I like the combination, but see, think about minted lamb, right? We know mint jelly, we know that, most people are familiar with that, but you can apply any jam to that, because in all reality, a lot of venison, for example,
Yeah.
will be served with a pear and some cranberry or something like that, right? And you want that sweetness to take some of that gaminess away.
Yes. Yes.
And so you see that all the time. And I would take any one, but I would go with the plum or pluot.
So let's assemble our medium rare lamb hamburger,
Right.
with your plum or pluot jam. What kind of cheese would go on that?
Cheddar.
Cheddar.
Oh, as they say in Vermont, everything is better with cheddar, right?
That's right. Or would it be an English cheddar, a sharp cheddar?
I'll go with a sharp cheddar because medium cheddars for me don't have enough bite.
Okay.
Because see, when you talk about that much sweetness that you have in the jam, you want a sharp will stand up beautifully. A medium one will fade.
What kind of microgreens might we throw on that?
You like microgreens on it,
Well, maybe some mint. Would we put mint?
No. I will go ahead actually and go really wild and put some rosemary on it.
Rosemary. Oh,
Yep.
rosemary and lamb. Go figure.
Well, yes, but the jam will actually put a different twist on it from the mint, and will make you a lover of jam forever. You will not eat mint with that anymore.
Oh, okay, very good. Well, we're on to something. Okay, so let's go on to your next bestseller. Which one might that be?
Elephant heart plum,
Elephant heart plum.
which happens to be California plum, and it's very hard to find. It's similar to Santa Rosa plum, but the elephant heart plum is purple, deep purple inside. Michelle again has the best. And so what you will have with that, what I like about the elephant heart plum, it has a tartness to the sweetness. So it's not just sweet, but it's tart. And I like the combination of tart and sweet in a fruit.
And if you were going to put that on a bruschetta, what would you pair it with?
I would not put it on a bruschetta. I would do something real American. You familiar with our grilled cheese?
I love grilled cheese,
Well, guess what?
especially with Gruyere.
Well, okay. My favorite because Gruyere is a different class.
How come it's when you say Gruyere, it sounds so much better than when I say it?
Well, because I speak French. And I've been eating Gruyere before you knew how to spell it.
You know, I
Or knew
feel
how to spell,
I
actually.
feel like Morticia. I feel like Gomez when Morticia speaks French. I love it when you speak French.
Anything can sound good in French. It can offend someone, and in French it still sounds good.
That's kind of like Brooklyn.
Pretty much.
You know, when you say, insult somebody
Oh, oh,
from Brooklyn,
oh,
they
oh.
figure out you're paying attention to me.
Although most people do understand that in Brooklyn we mean it as an insult.
So,
You know what I mean?
all right. So we're on the plum jam
But
with
so
the.
I have one of my customers who actually goes ahead and he turned me on to it. I cannot take credit for all myself because here's the thing. I always ask, how do you jam Jamalula? Because you know, while I've tried and ate all over the world, someone must have a better way than me, and I'm always open to listen. But so what he does, he basically goes ahead and puts a layer of plum jam, elephant heart plum, in between the cheese before he puts it in the pan. And the addition to the sweetness, to the sharp cheddar, or even the Gruyere, especially when you have one of those soft cheeses who melts really nicely. Wow, it just gives you that tremendous feeling.
You know, so my mind is running while as you tell us about the jam. If you were going to top a rice pudding with jam, which one would you top your rice
Are
pudding
we
with?
talking about a regular rice pudding or tapioca rice pudding?
Well, I prefer tapioca rice pudding all the time.
I actually will have to get back to you on that. I will have to. No. I tell you why. I am the only person that I know who doesn't eat tapioca pudding.
Okay.
Now my wife does, so I would have to.
You have to check
defer
with her.
With her because I do it on puddings. I do it. Last night I went to Trader Joe's and I wanted to pick a couple of things just to. What can you have Jamalula with? So I picked up a New York cheesecake, a whole one. I brought it home and.
Juniors on Flatbush Avenue.
Oh yeah, well, but that comes with a $38 delivery fee, I think, if not 58 COVID run. But and now that Bezos went into the space, now
Yeah.
he's gonna send all deliveries to space.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be more expensive. No, but to be honest, I think cheesecake, the topping on our jams on cheesecake is absolutely.
Just pick one of the Jamalula
Pick any
jams
one of
on
them, and
cheesecake.
whatever you want. I mean, use strawberries. I mean, you've been often enough because I think strawberry cheesecake. They offer that in every Greek diner from New York to LA. Would you agree with me on that?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you try some good cheesecake and you put my strawberry, which you happen to like, on top of
I
it,
love your strawberry.
guess what? That is going to be more a winner than any strawberry.
You know, now that
I've
you
ever
mention
had.
it, now that you mention it, I could see where that would work extremely well.
Because we don't bruise our fruit. I mean, I am. They always look at me and say, "What? It's just fruit." I'm like, no, bruised fruit will taste differently. Because the moment the fruit is bruised, the brown spot,
Yeah.
it doesn't taste the same.
No.
And hence, my whole thing about it is I don't want to bruise the fruit. I cut the fruit. I take really good care of the fruit because what I put in is what comes out.
Okay, so let's yet again go in another direction.
All right.
One of my guilty pleasures. Now, I don't want you viewers to disclose this secret of mine to anybody, but I love jelly donuts.
All right.
So to all the bakers out there, I'm thinking
If you can put Jamalula in it,
Monday Bakery. If I want to get the very best jelly donut, what should we put inside that
then
jelly
you
donut?
will put in what I haven't made this year yet because I have to wait until the damson plums are ready.
The damson plums.
Yeah. Then I will put in quetchacart.
Who?
Yeah.
What?
Plum kraut, as they will call it. It's a process where you take the damson plums or Italian plums, as you might find them here
Yeah.
in the United States. I always try to struggle with how they call them here. And so here's the trick about those. This is a 6-hour cooking thing. The first half hour, you basically put them in after you put them in, and you do not stir. whatsoever for the first half hour.
No stirring.
No stirring whatsoever. Then you have 3 or 4 or 5 different steps after that. But it comes out a really black, dark purple jam, who is absolutely divine. And it's something that they grow they make in Europe. They make it as far as Russia. They call it differently, but it's the same thing. I have quite a bit of Eastern European and Russian clients who love my kraut, and that's what I would put on it, because talking about a mouth filling, especially in
Yeah.
a nice donut,
Indeed.
or as they call it in Germany, ein Berliner, which is a donut with plum jam inside and sugar coated on top of it.
That sounds like it would pair well with my morning double espresso.
Yes, you might need a little bit more fluid with it, because it's a lot of powdered sugar on there.
Triple espresso.
Yeah.
The
No,
capital.
no, now we're getting there. Sorry.
Very good. So I noticed you have a rhubarb jam, and I don't think I would recognize a rhubarb if I fell into a patch of rhubarb. Tell us about the rhubarb.
Well, here's the little thing. Rhubarb doesn't grow in California naturally, just because rhubarb needs frost. Now, you talk to anyone who grew up in Indiana, Minnesota, Midwest, heck, it's growing wild in Alaska. But rhubarb, the leaves itself are actually toxic.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, and the stems, who look like celery, have a reddish skin on it.
Mm-hmm.
But rhubarb is a really tart, and it's actually a vegetable. Although in the United States, since 1947, and New York judge ruled that it was a fruit in order to avoid import taxes.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of funny. It's genus, it's really a vegetable, but in America it's a fruit.
And what's the best application for your
Best
rhubarb
application
jam?
for most Americans will probably know is called strawberry and rhubarb pie.
I've seen that. Yes.
Big thing all over the Midwest. And see, here's the thing that people don't understand why. Rhubarb was always abundant in the Midwest. Strawberry, not so much. The weather was not good, strawberries don't turn out. But, so you would have a few strawberries and lots of rhubarb. Mixing them together will give you a strawberry rhubarb, which gives you the sweetness of the strawberries with the tartness of the rhubarb. And for those who know rhubarb, you know, rhubarb is one of those things, once you had it, you always want it.
So, give us an application and a pairing for rhubarb.
Rhubarb being on the tart side, I would go totally wild and go to shrimp.
So, how would you serve that?
Well, I will take the shrimp, I will put them into lime juice. I like my...
Like a ceviche.
Yeah, but then grow them very fast. And see, here's the problem with shrimp. When you eat a shrimp and it's done correctly, it's juicy, it's beautiful. And then you have all the restaurants who overcook them, or where they become rubber.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You marinate them in lime when you clean them up, when you take the skin off, right? With the armor off. And then you drop them in the lime, and then you put them on the grill with a little bit of salt and pepper, and maybe a little bit of paprika. And then you just 2 minutes on each side, and then drizzle them with rhubarb. Wow.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Now that you mention that, I've got some scallops I need to use. Can I do any jam with scallops?
All right. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I actually have an allergy against cooked fish. I can eat lobster, crabs, shrimp. Scallops is borderline. I cannot eat a trout who's cooked. Smoked, yes I can. And raw, but I cannot have cooked fish.
Okay.
So with the scallops, I have to say I will have to get back to you, because that's not really one of my top foods.
Okay. So I'm going to throw you a curveball.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, here we are in California. Tomatoes are starting to grow. Are you guys doing any tomato jams?
I am actually thinking about making some this year. I am familiar with tomato jam, and I just have to see if it turns out right, because here's the thing. All our jams are made the Jam Jamalula way, which you do realize my family has had orchards back to the 17th century, and you know, I learned making jams from my grandmother
Yes.
and my great aunt, and I have to say, some food turn out great when I Jamalula, and some not so well.
Now, if you is there anything such as a savory jam?
No, because we all about summer in a jar, and I never saw peach growing with jalapeno or habanero inside.
Right. Now, would the tomato be a candidate for a savory
No,
jam?
no.
So that would be a
Sweet
traditional
jam,
jam, a
yes.
sweet jam.
If you ever had a sweet tomato jam, wow.
Yeah, I have some in my refrigerator. I use
Oh,
it
where did you
occasionally.
get it from?
In the farmer's market somewhere.
I just
Yeah.
want to know who does it because it's kind of interesting because tomato jam is kind of a Georgia southern thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. You will see a lot
Yeah.
of people, you know, the land of the green fried tomatoes.
I do some of my shopping at Farm Fresh to You. It's very convenient. They have a
Right.
$35 minimum, and they have a grocery department too. And I'm pretty sure I got the tomato jam on there. And because I'm Neapolitan, Neapolitans are all about San Marzano tomatoes and everything.
Yeah, I
jammed.
know, but it's very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Very few people make it, but I actually will try this year to make some of that. And I also now, listening to some of my customers, originally I the only one to do California fruit that I can find around here.
Yeah.
But I have now people say, why don't you make mango jam? Why don't you make pineapple jam? So there will be some things that I will try. They either turn out the Jamalula the way I like them, and
Yeah.
if not, I will not continue.
So before we conclude, what other popular jam have we not addressed?
The interesting ones, the pluots, the apriums, the plueries. Do you know what a pluerie is?
I have no idea what a blue area is.
So apriums, pluots, apricums, not something that I would want to name my jam. Plueries, cherry plus, are all basically crossed where you cross an apricot with a plum or you cross a cherry with a plum. Our friend Anne,
I've seen Annette Arceo had
Right.
a plum with a cherry pit in the middle.
right? And actually it's, if I'm correct, Nadia cherries.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. And so they're as big as a plum, right? But they only have a pit like a cherry.
Yeah.
Again, but it is a certified cherry actually. It has more cherry in it than plum. But it is big and it's small because I hate to tell you, I make a black cherry jam from Aunt's stuff. Wow, talking about labor intensive.
Oh yeah.
Well, you eat cherries, right? If you look at your pit and your meat, I'd compare that to a peach.
I was waiting for Annette to come to the farmer's market with her cherries this year, and now she's done, and I'm sad.
Yeah, I know, but the cherry season this year was pretty short.
Yeah.
Lack of water was one of them because a lot
Yeah.
of farms been pretty bad on water. But I have to say, pitting 50 pounds of cherry.
Oh God.
Oh, yes.
That's a lot of work. So now that you put the energy into pitting those cherries and making your cherry jam, let's talk about pairings for your cherry jam. How would you apply those?
All right, I would go to goat cheese.
Goat cheese. Oh, that sounds quite delicious.
I would top them, besides the usual, obviously. Anything from pancakes, blinis, blintzes, you go down the list, sourdough. But I think really on goat cheese, it makes a big difference because the cherry itself, because really nice and juicy black cherry with that little tartness to it. On a goat cheese, ooh.
And would that be on a slice of toasted bread?
Yeah, well, see, the way bread for me is something that you eat while you eat all kinds of other stuff.
Right.
Right? It helps you kind of soak on all those.
Yeah, it's a base. Yes.
Right. But yes, but goat cheese by itself, or you can be really crazy. You've seen those little mini goat cheeses that they have?
Well, David Gates has a bottle of wine in front of him,
The
so
1 ounce.
he's pouring for us.
He's like he will not find
That's
someone
right.
else who would appreciate that
On
as
the other
much
side
this
of the
afternoon.
camera is the celebrated David Gates from the Inglenook Bistro. And what do we have here, David?
Yeah, it's
2010
yeah.
Rubicon.
There it is, the celebrity right hand of David Gates.
And as I told you, it was in 2010.
Oh, you were right. What the hell do I know?
I pay attention.
Now, if you're thinking, gee whiz, Marc Mergen talks funny. No, I'm the one that talks funny. He sounds normal for a guy from Luxembourg, right?
Yeah, and you sound normal from a guy from Brooklyn.
Indeed. So, okay, so in conclusion, let's tell our viewers how they can find you and get a hold of you. What is your preferred contact information?
My preferred contact information is that you come to the Napa Valley Market, the Napa Farmers Market on Tuesdays, and see me personally so I can talk to you and
no extra charge to bask in Marc's aura in person. And what other farmers markets are you?
I'm in San Leandro on Wednesdays, Thursdays in Dublin, Saturdays I'm in Danville and San Ramon, and Alamos on Sundays, but not until September again, because right now Sundays I need to produce.
And there is a rumor going around that they might find you consistently after the Tuesday Farmers Market hanging out with me at Inglenook Winery. Is there any truth to this?
It sounds like it.
You think there might be some truth to that? Huh?
Well, you know, I haven't been thrown out yet here, and I've been here for a couple of hours enjoying some great wine, some great company, some great... and we have actually, like, I think we actually good here in bringing people in and get them introduced to the Inglenook brand, right?
You know, this is my favorite venue in the entire world. I enjoy it. I love the historic chateau, the friendly, knowledgeable staff, the fantastic Rutherford Reds, and they also have some fantastic whites, the Blancano, the Sauvignon Blanc. They've got a great Zinfandel. The Syrah is the bomb, and also a good cigar wine. This place is cigar friendly, and they more often than not have a good jazz and or Neapolitan soundtrack. Can you imagine that?
No, nothing wrong with that.
Maybe they'll have a Luxembourg soundtrack. Is that like a lot of papa stuff?
Well, actually, no.
No? What is
No.
it? What would it be?
I mean, Luxembourg is more French than you think.
Oh, really? I have no idea.
Maybe one of these days we're going to make a podcast on Luxembourg and how I teach my Brooklyn friends how to know a thing or two about Luxembourg.
Let's say 330,000 Luxembourgians.
Yeah, obviously it's not rich enough, otherwise you would have a private account there.
Yeah.
Because Luxembourg was originally known because that was the only country who would not tell the IRS that you had money there.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Even better than Switzerland, huh?
Yes, the Swiss, they dropped that a couple of years ago.
Oh,
Actually,
really?
in 2001, the Swiss dropped that.
If one is to visit Luxembourg, what airport does one fly into?
There's only one, LUX.
Oh, LUX. I've seen that on
That's
the
only one.
marquees.
Yeah, there's only one.
And what are the top attractions that they should see
Well,
in Luxembourg?
Luxembourg, if you like good French food in German proportions, Luxembourg and Belgium are your best places to go to. Because here's the thing, Luxembourg has been invaded for the last 3,000 years by just about anyone. I think at the World War II it took about 30 seconds to invade us. Today it'd be like 1 second, one keystroke. But reality is a lot has been stuck with the people in Luxembourg from every occupation we had. And we've just learned, gotten better, and make better products. But Luxembourg is probably best known, in my eyes, for its wonderful jambon des Ardennes, a ham who is, in my eyes, pretty much up there with any jamon iberico or any ham that you would get in Spain, France, Belgium, or Germany.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
And
Our
if you were
hams,
going to make a sandwich, what would you pair that Luxembourg ham with?
My fig jam.
The fig jam.
Oh, yeah.
And cheese? What cheese?
No cheese on there, just
No
a ham.
cheese.
Just a ham, fig jam. Oh,
Nice
some
bruschetta.
butter. Oh, we'll do the job.
Beautiful. Now that we have you all salivating, one more time, where do they find you on the internet?
Jamalula.com. We open 24/7, ship all over the United States.
Jamalula.com. Jama, J-A-M-A, Lula, L-U-L-A.com. Marc Mergen, you're a jamologist, the chief jam maker. Do you have anything else you want to say as we close this out?
Thank you for a wonderful invite to this beautiful estate.
Thank you for allowing me to bask in your aura.
Ah, my pleasure. Anytime.
Salute, everybody. Bye for now.
Salut. And you live with that?